Hello, friends. Welcome to a video where I'm going to be discussing one of my favorite topics, essential oils. Specifically, I'm going to be highlighting one oil that's kind of an underdog. It is particularly overlooked because it is from a well-known family where a lot of the other oils in it get a lot of the attention. And as an essential oils doctor, I feel the need to bring awareness to this little hidden treasure and to educate people on it. So in this video and the accompanying post that goes with it, which there will be a link in the video description if you want the resources and references I'm going to review, is Elemi essential oil. And just as myrrh and cedarwood get overlooked for frankincense and lavender, Elemi essential oil, which in Latin, let me see if I can pronounce this right, is Canarium luzonicum, can also get cast aside for other essential oils. So let me tell you why I find this oil so intriguing and impressive. Well, first of all, its pedigree, right? So it comes from the frankincense family, and it contains a high content also of a constituent that's found high in citrus oils, particularly limonene. Now, I thought this synergy of this combination of compounds that merged the resinous oils with the citrus oils was absolutely intriguing. And that's why I decided to dive into the research. So we're going to go over a little bit of the history, its characteristics and properties, its chemical makeup and its main constituents, the essential oil itself, mechanisms of action that's in the literature, its applications, its uses, and its safety. So we'll go through the whole gamut here of what you need to know about Elemi essential oil. So first, let's talk about the origin. Where does it come from? What's its history? Manila elemi was a large evergreen tree that is an endemic to the Philippines, and it can grow about 30 meters high when it reaches maturity. And there's currently about 75 known genera and about 555 species of Canarium. Now, the fragrant oleoresin is called Elemi, and one tree can produce about 4 to 5 kilograms. So multiply that by 2.2 if you're in the United States of this resin. So Elemi has a history of use in food and medicine and for industrial purposes. In fact, one that was discussing the medicinal value of the oleoresin and the tree said that it had antibacterial, antifungal, antiseptic, which is related to cleansing abilities, antispasmodic, and rubefacient properties, which is causing dilation of the skin. It's also used for fevers and chills, arthritis, burns, etc., traditionally, and postpartum baths. And the wood of the Manila elemi is used in light construction because it's not very hard, but it is used for that. Now, if we think of what does elemi smell like, it's described as a terpenic, which it contains terpenes, so that makes sense, woody or somewhat spicy and balsamic odor. I personally think it smells like fresh parsley. Due to its properties, the aromatherapy itself, and when we think about aroma and how that impacts mood and the psychology, it's been said to be good for grounding, meditation, and invigorating the mood. And when we go through next these combination of compounds, you'll see why. So as I've discussed previously, there's certain single essential oils that I feel act more like a blend because they have these unique chemical compounds in them, and they take on these different properties of other essential oils all in one bottle. So Kunzia was one example I've done in the past, as well as mountain savory. So Kunzia kind of had properties of frankincense, oregano, eucalyptus, hyssop, and peppermint. And mountain savory had characteristics of oregano, thyme, pine, and eucalyptus. And this was based on their most common constituents, which are also some of the most common constituents in these other essential oils. But again, because of the proportions and the percentage, it made it more of a blend rather than one that predominated. So Elemi essential oil is equally impressive and inclusive. Now it has a combination of mostly sesquiterpenes and monoterpenes, which has been found, and these are just chemical compound names, and about 40 different compounds depending on its quality and how it's manufactured. Now, sesquiterpenes possess calming properties, and they're also supportive for the immune system. They've been shown to be harmful to unwanted microbes. They act as antioxidants. They assist with cellular repair. There's been evidence that they can support neurological health because they cross the blood-brain barrier. So that would be very beneficial for people using essential oils with sesquiterpenes if they have neurological health that they want to support. Now, monoterpenes are within the terpene class. It's just a specific structure of the terpenes, and they are attributed to many of the properties of essential oils. So I have an abstract in my article that goes through the benefits of monoterpenes and their pharmacological actions. But just as an example, they've been done studies with monoterpenes, and they have a broad array of effects because of the way they interact with our own cells and the way that the monoterpenes are taken up into the bloodstream or through inhalation. So antifungal, antibacterial, antioxidants, anti-cancer, anti-arithrotic, which is heart rhythm balancer, anti-aggregating, anti-nociceptive, which is pain relieving. They've been said to be anti-inflammatory, antihistamine, and antispasmodic. They've also acted as regulators of growth, heat, tumor inhibitors, and inhibitors of oxidative phosphorylation, which is a process in cellular metabolism. They've been used as insect repellents and even as pheromones or feline and canine attractants, and also for impacting blood sugar. So these are just a wide array of different properties of monoterpenes. And why are there so many different actions? Well, because there's so many different constituents in one essential oil with all of these different monoterpenes, and because that one constituent can act on different receptor sites within the cells of our body. So if we look more on the specific sesquiterpenes and monoterpenes that are in Elemi, what we will find are some main components, and I listed about 5 to focus on: Limonene, alpha-philandrian, elmicidine, elemol, and alpha-pinene. So limonene has evidence for its role in cellular repair. It's anti-proliferative of cells, for metabolism, for cholesterol balance, and immune support. And a 2007 study abstract discussed D-limonene, which has been used clinically to dissolve cholesterol-containing gallstones and for the relief of heartburn and gastrointestinal esophageal reflux because of its impact on neutralizing gastric acid. It's also been used in phase 1 clinical trials and demonstrated a partial response in patients with breast cancer. Limonene also has been shown in laboratory studies for modulating blood sugar and for supporting immune function. Another key component is alpha-pinene, which has clinical data for immune modulation and stress relieving effects, specifically human trials for these mechanisms of actions, because alpha-pinene is a phytoncide, which is an aromatic molecule derived from trees. And these include sesquiterpenes and monoterpenes, right? So this is just one of them found in Elemi. And this particular phytoncide was highlighted in research for its positive effects, as I said, in cellular repair and in decreasing the stress response. Specifically, this was shown in measurements of immune markers and a decrease in cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And this is what they attribute to the benefits of forest bathing in Japan, where people go out into the forest and get those calming effects and a decrease in their fight or flight response of the nervous system and more of a rest and digest and a relaxation response. And this is one of the pinenes released from the trees that they believe attributes to that, and they've shown it through laboratory studies. Now, alpha Philadendrian is another monoterpene, a cyclic monoterpene, and it's noted for its antimicrobial effects. Elemicid, Elemicine, excuse all these words, is a phenolic, and it has been reported to be antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and have anti-proliferative. So that means it decreases cellular proliferation. So we could see where that could be helpful in certain cases. Elamol is a sesquiterpene alcohol, and it includes anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic mechanisms. So think of all of those different properties in one essential oil as the main compounds. Now, they've said that limonene can be as high as 30 to 50% in this essential oil, depending on the, again, quality manufacturing, what a specific brand deems important that they want to include in that Elemi essential oil. But again, these are the main components in the literature with all of these benefits. If we look at Elemi essential oil studies, where we're not just looking at the constituents, but we're looking at studies done with the essential oil, there wasn't a lot for human clinical data that I could find, but I did find some for preliminary studies in animals as well as in petri dishes or laboratory studies. And I found one laboratory study where it showed antifungal effects against several Candida species. It was used in a product manufactured as Lice Out, which kind of is like it sounds, an anti-lice formula. It also contained echinacea, specifically Echinacea purpurea, 10%, and then the Elemi gum at 2%, and it did demonstrate some deterring ability of the unwanted creatures in our hair. It also was shown to be one of the most effective essential oils to ward off body odor, right, as a natural deodorant, according to Robert Tisserand. And curiously, this malodorous bacteria is also linked to the axillary scent in teenagers called Staphylococcus epidermidis, and it is also associated with teenage acne, so it could potentially be a really good essential oil for multi-effects for teenagers. I would recommend applying it diluted to the face first before the armpits for obvious reasons. Now, the potential uses of Elemi essential oil based on, and remember, we can't always base laboratory studies how they'll happen in humans, but because of the traditional uses, because we have other human clinical data of essential oils that are similar, because of the data from the chemical constituents and their properties that are well researched in literature, and the studies that are found on Elemi essential oil itself, it is fair to say that essential oil has these potential uses for Elemi. Breast health, right? Because we know of its high content of limonene. So I advise my clients a couple times a week to use a citrus oil and dilute it and apply it to their breasts for cellular health of their breast tissue. And I think that Elemi could now be included in that entourage of different essential oils. Now, for skin health, this is my personal experience. I've used Elemi essential oil for skin, and I just felt like it gave it more clarity. If there's an imperfection, it tends to go away a lot quicker. It also has all those cellular supporting properties from its constituents in there, and it's also anti-inflammatory. It can have an anti-allergenic effect from some of those compounds we discussed. So that combined with a traditional use for boils and different various skin disorders, I feel that Elemi essential oil is a good oil for skin health, most likely. And I also feel that it's also going to be supportive for the respiratory, musculoskeletal, and immune support for many of the same reasons of what its mechanisms of actions are based on this synergy of chemical compounds within it. So suggested applications would be to diffuse this essential oil, either in your diffuser or inhale it right out of the bottle if you want the mood effects. And also when you inhale them, remember it's going into your nervous system through the olfactory nerve into the brain, but it's also going to be distributed throughout your cells and throughout your whole system. So you can apply it through inhalation if you don't want to apply it topically. If you do, I recommend diluting it, usually a couple drops of the oil in a teaspoon or tablespoon of good organic essential oil. Why organic? Because you don't, essential oils drive compounds into the skin, and you don't want to drive toxic chemicals and different phyto or different estrogenic compounds that are often applied in beauty products and creams into your skin that could cause a rash. So use organic carrier oils. As far as the safety and toxicity, again, because we have these combination of a natural compound, although it's natural, it is distilled, right, at very potent quantities. The environmental working group lists Elemi oil in a low toxicity rating in all categories of cancer, allergies, immunotoxicity, and developmental and reproductive and restrictive toxicity. I haven't found any reports of any major concerns, except when it's been used irresponsibly and someone got dermatitis, one case. I also just want to say that essential oils do have a synergy and a balance when they're used responsibly in the proper dosage. It's very hard to find cases where they've been harmful, or if they've been used responsibly, and that might be a skin reaction from someone who has sensitive skin. So again, Elemi fits this category. One study actually did a comparison between occupational exposure to a mixture of monoterpenes or phytonicides that you would get from, say, this isolated compound in occupational exposure versus what is being diffused by an essential oil. And the difference was the exposure limit was 150 milligrams per meter, or 27 parts per million. The total phytonicides that were present when a room that was being distilled with essential oils for hours was less than 2 parts per million. And again, the exposure limit is 28 to 29 parts per million. So it'd be very hard to reach that amount through diffusing the essential oil. So that is being said, still be mindful of essential oil and the quality. As always, if you have any questions on essential oils, I have a ton of resources on my website specifically with essential oils and mind-body medicine, and I will include that link in the video description as well as at the end of this video. And I hope now that you will consider putting Elemi beside some of your favorite essential oils in your cabinet and share your experience specifically with this essential oil and what you found it is useful for, because I will be looking for that in the comment section and we can learn together. So thank you very much for joining me and back on this journey with essential oils, which will probably be doing more of these videos. I just love the topic. They're accessible. One thing I didn't mention that's a major plus for Elemi is you get all these benefits of this kind of poor man's frankincense is what it's deemed with these citrus oils, and it's very wallet friendly. It's very affordable. So you can alternate that with your frankincense. All right. I am done now. So have a beautiful rest of your day or evening whenever you're watching. And remember to put those comments in there if you have experience with Elemi, because I'd love to hear them, and I will talk to you real soon. Take gentle care.